Welcome. So today is our Move into Stillness Somatic Explorations meeting, and I'm happy that you're joining me. So today, what I would like the theme for today is to discover a deeper surrender, and in that surrender to discover true support. So we'll say the idea here, or that's good enough. The idea here is that that true support already exists. This true support is actually it is the life force that animates us. It is existing in every cell of our body. It exists in every atom, every molecule, not just in what we consider to be living bodies, but in the entire universe. So that the idea here is that to the degree that we don't experience that aliveness and that vitality and that rest and that flow, then we are making unnecessary effort. And that unnecessary effort is what generates all of the strain and the discomfort and the what we would consider to be negativity, mostly. It's an oversimplification, but it's where we'll start. So it is by surrender that we begin to allow for that natural alignment. We allow ourselves to receive that intrinsic support, and we discover how joyful and effortless living can be. So that's our theme for today. No, I guess no small thing. We're going to be mostly exploring lying down on the back today. So you're going to want to be able to lie down on the back. You can do this anywhere that you're comfortable lying down on your back. So I'll give you a few pointers. If you are able to comfortably lie down on a firm, flat surface, such as a padded floor, then that may be for you ideal. It depends, because everybody's a little different and everybody has different needs and each moment is different. So you have to figure that out moment to moment. But in a general sense, we want to find we want to find that balance between comfort and feedback. So the more feedback that we can receive, meaning in this case from the firmness of the surface that we're on, then the more that we can get that feedback that reminds us of the existence of the intrinsic support that's here. But if we're on too firm of a surface for our own comfort, then it pushes the nervous system into a resistance, into a overactive state. And so it makes it difficult for us to really surrender to receive that support. So we want to find that balance. So oftentimes a bed is a little too soft, but sometimes a bed is perfect. I often, anytime I'm in a bed, I explore being in the bed. So a bed can certainly work. The most important ingredient is your awareness. So that's just, if you're willing and you're willing to explore openly, then any circumstance will work, even if you're sitting on a train. It will work as long as you're willing, open, and aware. Okay. So let's come to lie on the back. And I will lie down so that we can do this together. And we're going to find a comfortable position. So for most of us, that's going to involve bending the knees, feet flat on the floor, or whatever surface you're on. Because for most of us, straight legs is going to produce a little bit of strain. And if you need something under the head, then you can place something under the head. But ideally, you're going to want to be able to move the head and get some feedback there. So you can use paperback books are good. You can play if you need something under the head to lift the head up a little bit, because a lot of the time we're not accustomed to the head being resting in alignment with the rest of the body on the floor. So a paperback book or a few paperback books can be useful for that, because it gives you, again, that firm flat surface so that you can get the feedback, but also gives you the lift if you need that. Hands and arms can be just resting at sides, or you can place them hands on the belly, whatever is comfortable for you. And what we want to do here is, first of all, and this is actually the most important part, is really to just receive the support that's here. So it might seem, so many things. It might seem difficult. It might seem trivial. You might notice so many things in your experience, even just at the suggestion. But whatever you notice and whatever your experience is perfect. It's perfect for you. And that's an important part of this exploration, is that the invitation is to start to open to our experience and the perfection of our experience, rather than dismissing our experience or insisting that there's something wrong with our experience. Here, we're starting to open to the possibility that our experience, whatever it is, whatever our opinion of it might be, whether we like it or don't like it, or if it seems comfortable or uncomfortable, it's perfect. Even if the mind is very active and distressed, or if it's very restful, any of these experiences are fine as long as it's just what's happening. And so you can start by noticing where there seems to be some lack of relaxation, or a lack of trust, or a lack of sensation, or if there seems to be a place that has too much sensation. And see if you can just allow that area to surrender to the support that's underneath you. So you're lying on a surface and the body is totally supported here. Gravity is doing all the work. So all you have to do is actually let go. Now that may seem easier said than done. So again, just trust in the perfection of your experience. If you feel frustrated, then just notice that. If you feel impatient, then just notice that. And now let's take a few breaths together. So if it's comfortable for you, place your hands on the abdomen. And let the inhalations be gentle and relaxed. So notice if you have a tendency to strain for the inhalation. Do you tend to tense up the shoulders or the chest? Do you notice any tension in the neck, any movement in the pelvis or in the lower back? And just see if you can let that all soften. And on the exhalation, let everything sink into the support underneath you so that you can trust that surface even more. If you have your knees bent and your feet on the floor, then notice if you're holding any unnecessary tension in the thighs or in the adductors that draw the legs together. Can you instead of trying to pull everything in, let everything sink down into the support underneath you. Let the feet be well supported. Let them relax and open up. Let the soles of the feet be wide and relaxed and soft. Let the weight from the thighs sink down into the hips, and let the hips sink down into the support underneath you so that everything can just be fully supported. So one of the useful ways to start to receive the support is to understand that the support is actually inside the body. It's intrinsic in the body. So it's all around us and it's inside of us. And particularly the skeleton is this very wonderful support. So the tendency is for us to use a lot of the soft tissue, to exert a lot of effort through the soft tissue to try and hold ourselves, protect ourselves, move ourselves. And it turns out that's totally unnecessary, that the bones are very, very, very good at doing all of that. The bones are what can hold us. So you can take a moment here as you're breathing to also start to tune into the bones. That might seem strange, but just see if you can start to notice the bones. So can you be aware of the bones in your body? And maybe you could start with some of the ones that's the big ones, like the leg bones, the arm bones. Can you be aware of them? And as you're aware of them, just let those bones come to rest so that the bones can start to take the load. If we're working with the soft tissue to hold the bones, then we're not trusting the bones to do their job. So let the bones come to rest instead of holding them with the soft tissue, and then see that the bones at rest actually support everything. So the bones can start to be lying on this surface. You can feel the bones, the skeleton. So as I've said, the main ingredient here is awareness. And so you can notice that just through your awareness, so much can happen. And then we can support that through a variety of means. And oftentimes we use movement. So movement is one of those means, movement done slowly with awareness. Another is touch. So when we touch, particularly with our hands, we get a tremendous amount of feedback, and that can help us, if done with awareness, to more fully surrender and trust in the support. So today, we'll start with a little bit of touch on the head. So you can just start with one hand if that's comfortable for you. If it's uncomfortable for you, then you needn't do it. But if it's comfortable for you to bring a hand to the head, then bring one hand to the forehead and place the palm of the hand on the forehead. And just see if you can feel the bones of the hand. Can you imagine the bones of the hand and the skull here together, so that you can start to feel the shape of the skull with the bones of the hand, and with the skull, you can feel the shape of the bones of the hand. And you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. If you find it more convenient to do it with eyes closed, you're certainly welcome to do that. And then just slide the hand around on the forehead and on the side of the skull. So that's kind of the temple and the forehead and the cheek. And just gently move the hand around and let it rest on a part of the head for a moment or two. And each time you let the hand rest, see if you can let yourself be more aware of the bones. So you want to familiarize yourself with the actual skull. And you'll notice, if you really tune in, that there are a lot of muscles on the face. And these muscles in the soft tissue, the fascia, can be really chronically tense, so that we don't actually feel the skull right away. Instead, we're feeling all of that soft tissue tension. So as you rest the hand there, just see that you have this ability to soften and let go through this feedback mechanism. So it requires your awareness and your intention. And don't worry about moving the hand to exactly the right place. Just trust in your own intuition. Just experiment and explore. Just move the hand around to different places. If you're comfortable and you can get the fingers into the scalp, for example, that's very nice. And it helps to be breathing. So if you can breathe in a relaxed way, so as we explored a little bit ago, you just keep breathing in a relaxed way. And let the arm be as relaxed as possible here too. So much like what happens with the legs, when we bend the knees, we might tend to notice certain habits of excessive muscular exertion. So too with the arm. When the arm is in use, you might notice that you're tensing up in the shoulder or in the elbow or somewhere else, and just see that you can actually let that go. Let the weight of the arm be surrendered into the surface underneath you, so you can feel that shoulder gently resting into the surface, and all the weight of the arm is just moving directly into that surface. Okay, and then change hands if that's comfortable for you. So bring the other hand to the head. And challenge yourself a little bit. See, don't do this entirely passively. Do this with a bit of a enthusiasm, if that's possible, to see, challenge yourself. Can I really do this? Can I really actually feel with my hand? Can I feel the skull? Can I become aware of the shape of the skull? And in so doing, can I release these habits of unnecessary strain in my face and head? Let the eyes also relax. So the eyes here can also sink back into the skull because you're resting with your head on the floor. So let the eyes also sink backward. And maybe place your hand, well, if it's comfortable for you, maybe bring both hands now and bring them to the jaw. So you can kind of cup the jaw on either side so that your fingertips are just underneath the ear. And you can maybe let your forearms rest on the chest. And just see how much is there, how much tension is there in this area of the jaw. And can you soften that? Can you just, with your awareness and intention and with the feedback of your fingers and hands, so we're not stretching or pulling, but we're just, there's a gentle traction, I guess, but very gentle. And you just direct your intention to surrender, to let that soften. And you could maybe even open the mouth, open the jaw, let the jaw relax. Let the throat open, let the tongue relax. And as you do that, you might start to notice that there's actually a connection between the jaw and the rest of the head. So you might even start to feel all the way up into the temples and the forehead, because, and even into the scalp, that there's a sensation there, and that you can be aware of that sensation in an open way and surrender. Instead of fighting it, instead of being fearful, you can just surrender. You can trust that your bones can do their work. They can support everything. You can let go. So the jaw is connected to this, these temporalis muscles, which are these big fan muscles up around the ears and the sides of the head. And then those connect in with the rest of the scalp. So it's all connected. And when you surrender here, you'll feel your whole scalp, the whole forehead, everything can soften. And then remember, you can always rest. So if you find this strenuous with the arms or anything else, just take a rest. But if it's still comfortable for you to have the hands here, then let's explore a little bit of movement now with the hands placed here. So let's just slowly open and close the jaw. And open and close the jaw so slowly that you can be aware of all of the small, subtle details. So you start to notice where it's smooth and where it's not smooth, where there's confidence and where there's hesitation. Now, because if you have the hands placed here on where the fingers are kind of slightly behind the jaw muscle, then it will emphasize on the opening that this hinge allows for the jaw not only to drop down, but also to move slightly forward. And so as you allow that, you'll find that you'll get more of a release, more of an opening in the jaw. So just let everything be as soft and surrendered as possible. And the goal is not to open the mouth as much as possible. It's to be as aware as possible and to trust in and discover the structure that supports the movement, so that rather than trying to move with the habits and the muscles and the soft tissue, you're actually letting the bones dictate what the movement is. Okay, and then slide the hands down, let the hands come to rest wherever is comfortable, and just notice now what has changed in your awareness of your whole self, your head, your jaw, your neck, your throat, your chest, your shoulders. And as you're doing this, also, again, be aware of the breath and let yourself breathe. Let the breath be relaxed. Let the legs be relaxed as well. So notice any habits of tension that have crept up there and let them relax. Okay, and now let's explore some other hand placements. So take your hands and slide them down the throat until you reach the collarbone. So you have two collarbones, one on either side. And just let the fingertips lightly hook the collarbone. So very, very gently. Don't hurt yourself and don't strain in the hands or fingers, but just very slightly so that you can feel the collarbone. And be aware of your breath. And see if with each exhalation, you can just allow the collarbone to surrender a little bit more, so that the unnecessary effort holding on to the collarbone can let go and the collarbone can just come to rest. So the collarbones, the clavicles are connected to the jaw as well. So we've explored the jaw and now we're just sliding down to this connection with the clavicles. So we want to let the jaw continue to be relaxed, soft. I noticed quite a big release in my collarbones. And so I actually found that I had been holding some tension there that was countered by some tension in the back of my neck. So the back of my neck needed to lengthen as well in order to accommodate the lengthening of the relaxation of the collarbones. So if you need to make small adjustments like that, don't be afraid to do so. You can trust your body. If you're tuning into the bones, the skeleton, then you just trust in that. It will guide you. And if your hands or your fingers are fatiguing at all, then just rest. Probably also indicates that you're doing it a little bit too aggressively, so you can ease up on it. We're not trying to pull anything down. We're just using the natural weight of the hands as feedback. So now we'll keep the hands here for a few more moments. And as we're continuing to breathe, let's also explore opening and closing the jaw with the hands placed here. So same kind of thing we were doing earlier, but with the hand placement different. So at your own pace, slowly with awareness, open and close the jaw only as much as you have confidence in. So don't think that more is better. It's what you can do with awareness and smoothness that counts. So I notice as I close my jaw, I notice a very subtle pulling sensation under my fingertips on the collarbones. You may notice the same. And so if you do, then just slow down and see how much you can soften so that you can relax that. See, if we're holding this chronic tension in these muscles that connect to the collarbones, then that's going to be countered by or offset by chronic tension in the masseter and temporalis muscles on the top side of the jaw, plus most likely some chronic tension in the back of the head and neck. So everything's connected as we slowly, gently, through awareness, let these collarbones soften and relax. We're also freeing up the head and the jaw and the neck. And then, of course, that also translates into greater ease and softness and freedom further down in the chest and in the shoulders. So it's all connected. Okay, then slowly slide the hands down and just take a moment to breathe and notice what's changed. And by the way, just notice everything that happens. So whatever experience occurs is perfect. So sometimes there can be impatience and sometimes frustration and sometimes disappointment and sometimes discouragement and sometimes unhappiness and all these kinds of things. Plus, of course, there could be happiness and elation and a sense of ease and freedom and joy. All of these things are possible and more. And there may be thoughts or there may be no thoughts, but whatever happens, just be witness to it, because so much is stored in the body. So these habits of armoring in the body correspond to habits of perception and belief, energetic patterns, ways of emoting, feeling. So the tendency is, as those experiences are released or they surface, we tend to reenact the old habits of tension and armoring, which again lock up those types of experiences, those patterns and habits. But if we can just remain open, aware, soft, restful, trusting, surrendering to the intrinsic support, then what we'll find is that we gain new insights, new awareness, and that those old habits and patterns start to be released. So just be aware and trust in your own experience. You don't have to fix it or do anything. Just be aware, just open and aware. Okay, so now let's just roll the head a little bit from side to side slowly and let the eyes lead. So move the eyes first. So you're looking to the side and let the head follow. And then bring the eyes up to directly ahead and let the head follow, and then turn the eyes to the other side. Let the head follow, and just do this slowly a few more times. So just gently, slowly, side to side, and see how much you can be aware of. So you might notice, like I notice some extra sensation. By extra, I mean beyond my usual sensation on the sides of my neck. And of course, the temptation might be to interpret that sensation in a habitual and negative way. But here, I'm just noticing it. I'm noticing it just as sensation rather than leaping to the conclusion that I know anything about it. And as I'm turning the head, I'm just noticing how that sensation can be a guide that can help me to learn how I can more fully surrender. So because I have a fair amount of experience with this kind of thing, just do a couple more turns of the head and then come to rest. Because I have some experience with this kind of thing, I know my own habit or tendency is to interpret these things in old, negative, habitual ways. But that what experience has shown me is that actually those old ways of interpreting the sensation are usually, if not always, wrong and unhelpful. And so I've learned that it's very much more helpful just to, even though my brain is screaming, I know what this is and it's bad, I just have learned, even though that's happening, just surrender, relax, breathe, and see what the message and the gift is in the sensation. So this sensation actually is, I trust that the sensation is offering me something of value. It's showing me something that has been hitherto, what a word, unknown to me. So it's a gift because I'm now becoming aware of it. Now, if I judge it and say, oh, I know what it is and it's bad, then I'm not receiving the gift. And actually, because it's habitual, it's easier for me to fall into that. But it takes some, I'm not sure what the word is, some intention. It takes some definite intentionality to choose to remain open to this sensation and whatever gift it has to offer, which is unknown to me, but it's available if I just surrender to it. And so it turns out, as I was just turning the head side to side, as I opened to that sensation, then it became obvious, oh yes, the sensation is revealing to me how I have a tendency to hold this unnecessary effort here on the side of the neck, but I can release that, soften, and yield because my head is fully supported. There's no danger here. So these habits of unnecessary tension are because we don't trust and because we have a sense that there's danger, that life isn't safe. But here on the floor or on the bed or wherever you are, actually you're fully supported. So life is safe in this moment, despite what the brain is saying otherwise. So now feel free to make any other gentle, slow movements that feel good to you, so long as you do them with awareness. As we begin to conclude this portion of the exploration, and we're going to transition to a second phase of our exploration for today. Now, I suggest that you continue to lie down. I'm going to sit up, but I suggest that you continue to lie down as long as that's comfortable for you. And if it's not comfortable for you, then you can adjust in whatever way would be more comfortable for you. But whatever you do, do it slowly. So make whatever gentle movements feel good to you. It's done slowly with awareness. And then when you're ready to find a comfortable resting position, then do so. And just tune into the support that's here. So hopefully now that support is more obvious than when we first began. So this support that we can experience as our own skeleton, as the support of the surface that's underneath us, as the support of the earth that holds us. We can notice that that support is actually vast. It's actually infinite. That we're supported fully by all of life, all of creation, that it's in the air we breathe. And we can start to notice that that support really is infusing every aspect of our experience if we allow it. If we just are willing in this moment to surrender to it, we can start to really trust and feel that support through every cell, every molecule, every atom. And we can surrender physically to the best of our ability and accept what we can't. So there's always, practically speaking, there appears to be some limit on what we can surrender in the moment, but we can just accept that. And that offers us a deeper surrender. So rather than insisting that the surrender has to look and feel a particular way, we can surrender in a deeper way by surrendering what we can and accepting what we seem not to be able to. And so this opens us to an even deeper surrender, noticing of the perfection of this experience and this moment and all of life. And perhaps then we can start to notice that this support, which is all encompassing, is not different or separate from us. That really, in this surrender, we recognize there's no distinction that we can find, that we are one with it. So really, we are that support. We can trust that support. It's not known to the mind. We can't grasp it by the mind, but we can know it by virtue of the fact that we're here, that we've always been here, that through all the experiences, the ups and downs, the good and bad, the wanted and unwanted, that we're always here, that we're always being opened to new discoveries. And that in this realization now, we can recognize that actually who we really are in this moment is this wide openness, this vastness. So this vastness, this wide openness, this pure awareness doesn't have any boundaries, it doesn't have any limitations, and we can explore that right now and just notice that in our direct experience, that there is no separation here, not in the direct experience. So there's just this wide openness. And you can notice that everything's included here. So even what we don't seem to be able to surrender, that's also included. Even if there seems to be agitation, that too is included. Everything is included. So there's nothing that is rejected. There's nothing that's outside of this. There's nothing that is the enemy of this. And that's what it means to, when we talk about unconditional peace, unconditional acceptance, or unconditional love. So we're in direct communion with that right now. So now with this awareness of this unconditional peace that's present here now in this vast open support, we can begin to imagine or envision the possibility that this unconditional peace can be expressed in our lives. It can be expressed in our bodies, in our sensations, in our feelings, in our emotions. It can be expressed in our bones and our muscles. It can be expressed in our organs. It can be expressed in our relationships, including our relationship with our own body, our relationship with our own mind, our relationship with the surface that we're resting on, our relationship with the earth, our relationship with our loved ones, our relationship with our neighbors. So we can start to envision this possibility. And actually, within our own imagination, anything is possible. So in our imagination, we can know that that's at least possible. Now, whether it's possible in the so-called external world, we can leave a question mark there. But at least in our inner world, in our imagination, anything is possible. We can imagine anything. We can dream it up. So let's at least now hold this possibility of this true unconditional peace manifesting in all these dimensions of our experience, at least in our inner world, in our imagination. And then just notice where there seems to be an obstacle to that, where it seems like you have a hard time imagining that. And notice what you've learned today through your exploration of yourself about how to more deeply surrender, how to allow, how to forgive, how to truly accept and love yourself, and apply that here and just allow the obstacle without resistance. Don't fight with it or deny it or argue with it or condemn it or judge it or anything. Just allow, open to the experience, and trust that the experience has something to offer to you. There's some wisdom here that if you just open to it without grasping at it, but you just surrender and receive, that it shows you something of value. It shows you something that's possible. It shows you the way. It shows you how you have been making unnecessary effort and how to surrender that. All you have to do is just open and witness. And then again, notice this wide openness, the ground of support, true support, unconditional peace that's here at the heart of being. So don't have to go searching for it. It's here. We just let go of everything just for one instant now. And again, noticing that this unconditional peace, which is at the heart of being, doesn't have any limitation. It doesn't have any enemies. It doesn't have any agenda. It is complete acceptance and allowing. And so let's now one more time begin to imagine and envision the possibility of the expression of this unconditional peace at all levels of our experience. And for now, just in our inner world, just in our imagination, so that we know that it is possible, because anything's possible in our imagination. There are no actual limitations in our imagination other than the ones that we accept. So just notice where there seems to be a limitation or an obstacle where you think, I don't know that peace could really express here, and just be aware, just open to that obstacle or objection and just see it. Just surrender, allow yourself to be open to your own experience. Trust in the support that's here and know that you're safe. In this moment, all that's happening is you're just here, supported, just noticing your own inner experience. So there's nothing that can harm you here. It's just you. So it's safe in this moment to open. So just open and witness and allow and accept and surrender. Surrender all the effort, all the trying, and just receive the gift of your own experience. Whatever judgments you might have about it, just receive it and receive the gift, because it shows you something. It shows you something not only of what's possible, but also of what it is that's been obstructing that possibility from expressing, so that through that awareness and that knowledge, you now have choice. So just receive that without judgment, without trying or straining in any way, just open to it and see it. Okay, and thank you so much for joining me again today. Thank you for your courage and your willingness to meet your experience. I know sometimes it can be scary. So thank you for that. And as we're concluding now, please remember to be gentle with yourself and take your time as you transition from this current experience and state and posture into the rest of your day or whatever's next. Be gentle and transition with awareness, so that you don't just fling yourself from this state into the next, because it's in those transitions that we can discover so much. So Go slowly and be gentle and just notice whatever you notice. You actually know the secret now. If you just aware, gentle, allowing, then all the magic happens. You just have faith and confidence in that, and you'll see that it's true. So be very gentle. And I'll also mention that you may notice more sensation or more experience. That's certainly a possibility. So if that happens, just notice your habitual way of judging the experience, the way that you think you know about the experience, and just notice that that habitual way of judging the experience, what you think you know, has never actually proven to be useful. In fact, it's just made life more difficult and stressful. So have the courage just to open to your own experience and just witness, learn about your habits, and see that you don't have to be bound by them any longer. So whatever happens, trust that it is for good. More sensation does not mean bad. It just means you're more aware and that things are moving. So in the bigger picture, that's a good thing. So be very gentle with yourself and take good care of yourself. Make sure that you don't push yourself so much. See what you can accomplish with less effort. You'll be surprised. You can do so much more with less effort if you allow yourself. Okay. So thank you. Blessings to you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.